It is my opinion that the Smashing Pumpkins are the worst band in rock and roll history. They make the worst music that has ever been made, and Billy Corgan is the worst sounding frontman to ever exist, okay? This channel is built on content based around my enemies, and Billy Corgan and the Smashing Pumpkins have been my enemy before this channel existed. Hell, they've been my enemy before YouTube existed, okay? This goes back to the 90s. This goes back to the early 2000s, where I was so steadfast that the Smashing Pumpkins were the worst band of all time. And I have no idea how I forgot to mention that making these videos in the current era. It's like so weird to me because they've always been at the top of my list of like worst artists of all time. Hey, how's it going? It's your friendly neighborhood gatekeeper, Dan Frampton here, and today I'm here to tell you why the Smashing Pumpkins, and Billy Corgan more specifically, are my enemy for life, okay? Now, the Billy Corgan fronted Smashing Pumpkins kind of exploded in the scene in the early 90s, all because of that whole grunge movement that was going on, and he's known as Billy Corgan back then, and today he insists on being called William Patrick Corgan, okay? You can't just all of a sudden be like, I'm a big fancy boy and this is my name now. No, the whole world knows this guy as Billy Corgan, and for some reason he's insisting that you call him William Patrick. I want you to say all the syllables, okay? I am William Patrick Corgan. No longer am I just like the peasant known as Billy Corgan. That's a pissant name. No way, no how. No. I'm a big time fancy man. I use a fork and a knife and I drink my tea with my pinky out, okay? I am no longer Billy. I am William Patrick Corgan. I'm the kind of guy that wears a thick woolen hat and a scarf in 90-degree weather, okay? I'm a big fancy boy. I'm kind of getting a little bit lost in the sauce here, but I'm gonna go through some of his album titles, and that should shed some light onto why this guy sucks so hard. In 91, comes out with a record called Gish, okay? What the hell is a Gish? And then Siamese Dream in 1993. Nobody cares about a Siamese Dream, but here is where it gets disgusting, okay? Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, the very famous double disc that exploded these guys into worldwide popularity, okay? This is, to this day, they're like magnum opus or whatever, and to me, I've always hated this thing. This thing is grating from beginning to end. I can't stand the fact that this even exists, and I have no idea why people think it's cool or fun. Are you kidding me? Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness? Nothing is more trite than that. Nothing is more corny, nothing is more cringe than that title. Now, I can kind of see how that would go on to inspire a whole bunch of emo people in the late 90s to go on and be emo, because Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness kind of like celebrates being sad, okay? Celebrates the melancholy and the downtrodden, okay? But to me, it's just super, super corny. We're not going to go through them all, but one of my favorite titles is Zeitgeist, okay? That is like a desperate attempt to get back into the zeitgeist of popular culture, okay? And that comes out in 2007, because there was a time where William Patrick Corgan was a part of the zeitgeist, and in 2007, he was no longer so much that, okay? Now, I dislike this guy's music so much, and I dislike this guy's personality so much, but that is just backed up by the fact that this guy is such like an egomaniacal, controlling freak, okay? There are so many stories of behind the scenes things that he's done. So many antics of him just being like, okay, you're no longer playing this instrument on this take, I'm gonna do it now. Everybody go home, I'm gonna play all the instruments now. You all suck, you can't do what I wanna do. I'm the visionary, I'm the revolutionary, I am the William Patrick Corgan, okay? And I can't keep up with that kind of ego, okay? I don't think that that's okay, and I don't think that's a cool way to treat fellow artists and friends and co-collaborators, okay? That's just super asshole behavior, and I'm never gonna find that redeeming, okay? William Patrick Corgan, you're not cool. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this guy is on my enemies list, but like I said, my dislike for this guy predates an enemies list. So I'm retroactively dumping all over this guy to put him on officially the enemies list. But this is all early 2000s, early 90s stuff. To this day, there's a story going on, and in 2011, with all of this evidence mounting against William Patrick Corgan, okay, he started to have a redemption arc. That's right, in my eyes, I was like, oh no, is William Patrick Corgan a cool guy? What's going on here? Because in 2011, he started his own wrestling promotion. Now this guy's a big time fancy rock and roll guy, and most people in that big time fancy rock and roll world would be like, wrestling? You like wrestling? That's silly and for carnies, okay? But he's like, I don't care about that. I'm gonna start a wrestling company. And because of all that, I was like, oh man, I respect this guy. That's kind of cool. So he's up there in Chicago, okay? He's got this little independent promotion going on, and then he gets involved with TNA, Total Nonstop Action, Impact. He starts to like co-own and co-run it, but a whole bunch of drama happens and he ends up leaving that organization. And here there's like a duality of minds going on here. Like, I don't like this guy as an artist, but I'm really respecting how he's carrying himself in like the mid 2010s or whatever. And then he goes on to buy the NWA. Yes, the classic wrestling organization that has so many iconic moments happen on their screen, he bought. And not only did he buy, he made like a whole studio show that replicated the show from back in the 70s, back in the 80s, like that style of wrestling that I really loved. And when he brought it back to YouTube, started the show at 6:05 on a Tuesday. All very classic stuff. I loved all of it. And the roster was amazing. You had Eddie Kingston, okay? You had LA Knight, yeah, but he was going by Eli Drake. Eli Drake, yeah, just unbelievable. Zicky Dice, Marty Bell. Just a whole bunch of people that were really fun to watch, that were really good at wrestling. And on top of all that, you had Nick Aldis as the champion, holding the 10 pounds of gold, bringing all sorts of prestige over here, okay? So now I'm like, I don't know if Billy Corgan is an enemy, but I'm here to tell you that he is an enemy today. I wouldn't have made this video and said all those things on the front half of this video if Billy Corgan didn't end up being an enemy. Because yes, he went through this redemption arc. Yes, there was a little bit of a wrestling timeline that made me appreciate him, but in today's day and age, I cannot stand him, and there is two main reasons. One musical and one wrestling, and we're gonna get into it right now. He just put out a 3-disc rock opera, okay, called Atum, a rock opera, and there's nothing I hate more than that. There is nothing more pretentious than that, and apparently, now I didn't listen to this thing, okay, I only watched the Anthony Fantano review of this thing. I couldn't imagine sitting down and listening to a 3-disc effort put out by Billy Corgan. Nothing sounds like more of a torturous endeavor than that. So yes, an overly snooty rock opera is one of the reasons why I'm like, this guy has another nail in the coffin. This guy's an enemy. This guy is officially an enemy. I hate that so much. But the NWA, his wrestling organization, has fallen off tremendously. Now it's going to take a lot to fall down from this perch for me, okay? Because they even featured yours truly in one of the episodes. I did a little sing-song one time, and they showed it in one of their episodes of NWA Power, and I was like, oh man, I am forever a Billy Corgan guy now. But because of this rock opera, and because of how hard the NWA fell off, I gotta be like, nah, enemy, dude. And here's the reason why NWA sucks so much right now. Nick Aldis, he was a very prestigious champion. He ended up getting treated like crap, okay? He's no longer the champion. He was very good in the ring. He carried himself like a champion outside of the ring. You know who's the champion right now? This big fat schlub named Tyrus, okay? He can't wrestle. He looks like crap. He can't talk. He's the worst wrestler in the whole world, and they put the 10 pounds of gold on him. That's the 10 pounds of gold, okay? Now, you're gonna like treat that championship with that amount of disrespect? This is the Harley Race Championship, okay? This is the Dory Funk. This is the Terry Funk Championship, and you're just gonna urinate all over it like this, Billy Corgan? Nuh-uh, not on my watch, not today, not now, not ever. You, sir, are a super enemy forever now for strapping Tyrus with the 10 pounds of gold. That championship deserves to be on a champion, okay? An absolute world-class athlete, not a fucking jabron, okay? So normally people don't make it onto this list for just like simply creative endeavors, but Billy Corgan is just doing the worst stuff. The amount of disrespect that he's showing fans in both the rock and roll world and the wrestling world right now is unprecedented. That ego is going unchecked. And I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to get a whole video out about my dislike for Billy Corgan, but here we are. We made it to a full video's length worth of video, and I'm going to be saying goodbye right now, but you're going to be leaving a couple pancakes down there in the comments before you bounce on out of here.